Hello, everyone. Welcome to the YouTube Mile Builders Thursday Night General Hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion on mile railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. Thursday's hangouts are the proud sponsor of the Tuesday night presentations, the YouTube Mile Builders, EMAG, and the YouTube Mile Builders live show. I want to say thanks for everybody joining in tonight's show. And here's your host for the night, Johnny Reb of Southeast Rails. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's see who all we got here. We got Newcastle, Mr. Hawks. We got Dave, Andy, and Andrew in Australia on the panel. And who we got in the chat over here? We got Mr. Jim, how you doing? And Dwight. Tony just popped in. Tony's over nothing like introducing myself, huh? Okay. We kind of started a little discussion here just before the show, and Andrew can't stay around too long, so we're going to go ahead and just hop right in on this discussion. Newcastle?
How would you scratch build a PRR signal? That's for Andy.
All right, so well, and Andrew had some LEDs that are good for it, but I was originally planning on building by aspects. I am building the towers, but I found a good deal on NJ International, just the round aspect with the hood over it, which are fairly easy to construct. But I thought I'd save myself trouble since I basically bought them for 75 cents a piece at the NMRA National. What I would do, especially at O scale, and even at HO scale, is actually take a piece of printed circuit board and solder surface mount LEDs on, much like what Andrew has, but without the wire leads.
Hang on. I'll
Check
just
this out.
let Andrew show those off. No microphone, Andrew.
Is that better?
Yep.
They're the 04 ones. They're the smallest you can get. Give you an idea of the size of them. And that's the next size up, or two sizes up.
What
these
number
ones
is
here,
that?
that's a
042, I think.
that's the 042 there. And that's the next one up, or two sizes up. I think two sizes up. I get the, which I've got here to show you. I've got the little diecast, having a senior moment. Single lights for they use in yards.
The dwarfs.
Yeah, little tiny little thing. Most people use optical fibres in them and bring the light. They have a large LED underneath. With these, I can actually fit these 402s in the light itself and just have the wires going down. And because I paint the wires black so you don't see them. These other ones, these larger ones, are put for lighting up buildings. And I control them all through the Arduino. Right.
Oh, okay.
Here's a kind of in that same topic. If you're kit bashing the Z stuff, how would you run the second wires for the bottom two light signals?
The second wire for the what?
For the diverging turnout signal. I'm doing like what you have on your row, the one signal head with two lights light up at the same time.
Yeah, I do too. Their position light or color position light like this.
Here what I'm talking about. This is kind of I'm showing what I'm going to kit bash. I have this plastic built signal head, and I'm going to put it right in front of here. How would you hide the wires here? Would you put it down the ladder? Or?
Down the tube.
Yeah, the best thing is to get it in the tube. And what you can do is take a file and just nick across the tube until you get an opening in the tube so you can feed them down. That way you don't damage the wiring that's already in the tube. But there's plenty of room. If you look, you'll never be able to see that probably, but there's a lot of room inside that tube for the wiring is quite small, insulated magnet wire. So there's plenty of room to add the extra wire leads to one of those. And that's all they do. You can't really see it. Yeah, it's too hard to see that they kind of nick where the wires feed into the tube at right there. It's just too hard to see. But I bought a bunch of aspects, like 30 of these. I was going to fabricate my own. And what I was going to do is take printed circuit board and solder surface mount, drill a hole, solder a surface mount LED, just drop it in the hole and solder the two contacts and build my wire traces into that surface mount or into that printed circuit board, and then just paint the whole thing. So the actual circuit board that runs the feed, the common and the anode, and the cathode and the anode, the power and the common wire to each LED would actually be in the face of the aspect, and just paint it with a thick paint to cover up that electrical pathway. And then you have no wires to hide except for off the bottom or off the back, or off from the aspect somewhere. But since I got these, there's no reason not to use them. I don't think. Maybe I don't use them, but it's really hard to buy these. Number one, these are great for a few cases on my railroad at $40 or $50 a piece. I'm still going to buy a few because they take so much time to build. But a lot of my signals on mine are like, and I got them on paper, which is dead trees, but they're like that.
Yeah, that's kind of like the B&O, though more like the you are modeling that in W.
Yeah, but the B&O has additional aspects. But all of my singles look like that. They have a relay cabinet underneath them, so I have to.
That's kind of like the Z stuff almost.
Yep, but I have to. So I have to. Even this one I have to cut the base of it off, which I have a rotary cut tool, like a pipe cutter, for zipping that pipe off, so I won't damage the wire inside. And then I'm gonna cut that off, run it through a relay cabinet. I'm not positive that I'll use this, but somewhere I got this trick from somebody. I think it was Ron Kleiss, but I can't remember who it was. And but I took a key off a keyboard, took a burnishing tool on a Dremel, and a key has a slope to it. It kind of brought most of that slope down, and then painted it with an oil-based paint, which still has a little slope, but you can see that pretty good on camera. But looking at it, especially in scenery, you're not going to see that slope. But I painted it with oil paint and then textured it with some talcum powder, so it has a concrete texture to it, and with some weathering powders that'll really pop. So I think that's my first, because you got to have that little platform. And plaster is really hard to do that in because it's so doggone small.
Joe G's asking, do they have different color nano leads, LEDs?
Oh yeah, and even different actions. So you could get, green, yellow, red, of course, but you can get blues and other things. You can get them in flashing. You can get them in all kinds of stuff. Of course, you can flash or control that animation of the action. You can control through an Arduino or through a signal control board. And especially with an Arduino, you can also buy the multicolor LED. So if you're building a searchlight, that single signal with the single light, you can put a single multicolor LED and run it through its paces. There's even some documentation on Baltimore Hobbyist Forum about the code required to make it look like, because those were mechanical. There's a mechanical lens that's sliding that lens over, and there's a guy who wrote an Arduino sketch for animating that. So when you're looking at it, you go from red to green, you can see that little it's not a slide, but you can see that slight delayed action as the mechanical motor moves those glasses.
Hey, Andy, though, I thought about doing those. I thought about modeling it, though. I don't know if I'm going to. Though, Pensy train orders were like that style. Their train orders were like that. They were single lights, and they changed red to green. They actually used those as train orders.
Well, that's pretty. They're searchlights. Those are pretty easy to do, and you can animate the operation. Now, the NW, when they went to illuminated trade orders, they're a single type D or whatever, the traffic light style, but it's just a red green. On my layout in 1950, they were still using semaphores, so I still will have not very many, but a handful of operating semaphores.
This is what I was talking with the guy on a forum about building signals, and I asked him, have you ever scratch built a PRR signal? And he said, and this is O-gauge. No, I have not built any PRR signal. Wiring the head of a PRR would be quite a task. One would have to use a smaller yellow LED with a minimum of 7 lamps. Soldering and threading all these wires would scare me away.
See, you don't need 7 wires, because always this bulb and this bulb fire together, this bulb and this bulb fire together, and this bulb and this bulb fire together. Only the center one is complicated because it fires with all of them. So you only have to run a lead for these two. So you need a common ground. You need one to trigger the outside two, one to trigger these two, one to trigger these two, and one for the center. It's just a total of 5 wires.
How would you wire the middle light?
Now, there's 2 ways to do that. The way these guys do this, and this is the way I would do it too, is that they run the 5 wires, the common ground, and the 4, which is your 2 in pair and your single center, and then trigger it off from an Arduino or a signal control board to control when the center fires. I like that.
Hang on. Newcastle?
What?
I can't see who's echoing, but you cut your screen share off, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are getting an echo in here. I know it's not from Andy because I can hear him echoing on somebody else.
Try what's his name? Andrew. He's echoed before. Or Philip.
No.
Philip doesn't have his mic on. Mic off.
Philip uses headphones.
Hmm.
All right, the echo's gone now. So.
Though what we're thinking is we're going to use a brass tube and wire the ground to the brass tube. Do this, and just say we're still I think they what's it called when to protect the power from going through I forget though. We're thinking of wiring the one light bulb. It will be always on. We're thinking about that. Maybe doing that or using, I forget what it was though, to put it in the middle.
Probably a diode. A diode only allows electricity to flow in one way. So you could use a diode to control that center light, so it always fired. Whichever you fired, it always stayed on. But it's pretty easy to do it in electronics. You're going to use an extra pin, but and that gets pretty deep. The actual building of the signal is the part that is the most time consuming. It's actually building that assembly. And if you could just buy them, by all means buy them, even though they're expensive.
Yeah, it's just really expensive. So we're also using relays. We're using all relays.
Either you show up, let them send you home, or it's not like a normal job when you call it at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Barely can hear you, Dave.
But I would do without text, all 3.
I think he's got a TV on or something.
Still coming in.
Andy, you got double screen.
Yeah, don't worry about
it. Because I don't want you turning out to be like Howard's deputy, where they fired him because alcohol, didn't bring it back. It doesn't matter. You
yeah, we're trying to mute.
Think that
David. Okay, he doesn't hear us. So, anyway, Andrew, before you get out of here, I just want to say thanks for coming in and appreciate you showing off those lights for us.
Yeah, just for Newcastle, if you can you see that drawing?
Hang on. Look.
Wait. Yeah, I can see that drawing.
Right, well, the black dots you can see there, the LEDs. I just drill a hole and feed my wires through that facial plate. I get a file and I just file a little slot in the mast and feed the wire through. Now I've had 4 LEDs, that's 8 wires go through one piece of tiny brass tubing, and it goes all the way underneath the layout.
Yep.
Then I just put a little bit of wax on the LEDs, spray the whole thing black, then scrape the wax off, and I got my signal. Now, if you're doing HO, it's a lot easier. Your tubing can be that little bit bigger. I hope that helped.
Yeah.
Though everything's also going to be controlled by relays. It's not like JMRI or anything like that. It's all controlled by relays.
Or you can use JMRI to trip a relay. You could use, the relay is just what pulls the power to the light. How you trigger that relay, there's 1,000 ways to do that. JMRI could be used or whatever.
Yeah, what we're thinking is it's going to be So what we're thinking is the relays. We're going to have one relay for each signal, and then cut the power source. So if there's no power going to that relay, it goes totally red. And then when you cut the relay, when you throw the switch to the other side, the relay, it directs the power to the other relay, and it trips that signal green.
Real quick, let me interrupt here. For those out there in the chat talking about buffering, yeah, I've been watching that. I've checked. My connection is good, my internet connection and all. The only thing I can tell you is on your video screen that you're viewing the show on, go all the way over to the right on the play bar when it comes up in red. Click it. That should bring you back into the real time of the show. Sometimes when it starts buffering, your timeline will drop back. You have to pull it forward again to get back in sync. So,
can I say something, John?
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
The live, where it says live on the video next to where the volume is, if you click on that, that'll take you to the most recent broadcast going out. So you don't have to maybe the time refresh all the time. That sometimes works. Also, YouTube has been having a ton of problems with buffering. This isn't the only live show that I've been in here lately on a YouTube, and it happens with all of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's like the chat's live, everything else is buffering bad. It's a YouTube problem, and there's nothing that Johnny can do about it.
All right, that explains why I was watching videos last night and a little bit before the show. It took them a minute before they even started.
Yes, yeah, it's a YouTube problem right now.
Okay, thank you, Phil.
You bet.
I'll pay you at the end of the month.
I'll look for my check. Thank you.
Remember, everybody, this is all volunteer. If you want to come in, be active, just come in.
But,
They're not angry.
all right. Oh, AJ, how you doing? Hope you're feeling better. AJ was saying he's been under the weather. He's gotten so he calls it a plague from some of his friends' toddlers. So he's having to nurse himself back to health. So yeah, good to see you bouncing back there, AJ. I want to say hey to David, Sparky, Mark, Curtis, yeah, John. I already said hey to Dwight and Tony.
Anybody's got another topic? Or are we still gonna talk about signaling?
No, we're not going to talk about signaling. I'm tired. Mr. Hawks.
That's me.
Yeah. How you doing tonight?
Doing fine. Finally getting back into the groove.
Ah, that's good. That's always a good thing. Yeah, Redneck Railroader just popped in. So what you working on? I noticed a bunch of push pins there.
Yep. I had my tracks would finish here and a little bit over there, and now I'm trying to connect everything together because I changed Bill's plan a bit. As you can see, I'll be building two trestle trills where you see the pink foam.
Yeah.
Over here, there's going to be two bridges that I want to build. And since I had my plywood already put in, I had to cut because there's some elevation changes. So that's what I've been working on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dave, I don't know what happened. Yeah, Dave dropped out on us, and now he's over in the chat. He said he can't get back in, so I don't know if you heard Phil. YouTube's been having some problems and all, so we'll chalk it up to YouTube for right now. Go ahead.
I did post a question. I posted a question if anybody had plans on trestles. I didn't want to buy like a kit. I want to do my own, but I was looking for plans on like to find out the width and the height and all that kind of stuff.
What kind of, you're actually doing like a wood truss, or are you some kind of
Yep.
bridge? Or?
Yeah, it's a wood trestle. It's gonna I think it's gonna have about 6 legs, maybe 8 legs.
Lex
Okay.
Parker had a set of plates that he was working off from that he had took. Also did some videos on it on Lex Parker's channel on YouTube. He did a multi-part series on. He's in 0-3, but whatever. You can still take the essence of how he did that.
Yeah, I saw his video, but what I'm looking for are the plans for dimensions.
Yeah, he talks about a place where he printed those plans off, and I've looked at them. I just don't remember where they were. That's just where I remember finding them, and they were online as a printable plan set, and you could print them and glue down some styrene or some wood stock to them to make the jigs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have been NMRA plans since there's been a bunch of that stuff going around lately. I've got some NMRA plans here recently that I've been working with. They could have been off the NMRA.
I didn't even go look at the just to look at it. Look
You
at
gotta
pictures and stuff.
You want a jig of some kind.
Yeah, usually they make jigs for the bents.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it they just build right on top.
If I'm not wrong, I saw a plan where usually the legs are about 2 inches apart. The height is something around 15 feet. 15 feet's real scale.
Yep.
Anyway, I got to do a lot of research on that.
I don't know how much Ron Glass put on his videos. You might check on that. I know he built his trestle bridge.
Yeah, his was metal, steel trestle for microengineering. He did a great job, but it's not a wood trestle.
Oh, it's not?
No, there are some plans available. I've seen them. I just can't remember where they were. And I was thinking, just off the top of my head since you mentioned it, that it was from Lex Parker that I went looking for them. Because I've got to build a couple fairly small ones myself. And there was jigs, at least for the beds. At least for the towers or the beds.
Because it's not the videos, because I have a pretty good idea. Well, I've seen a lot of videos. It's just like basically just dimensions. Because I saw some videos where they have it pretty wide, maybe like 3 inches, 4 inches, and I'm going, no. And some others have like 1 inch. And it's, I don't know. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think. How deep is that going to be right there? Is that just a gorge that you're going across?
Yep.
You got 2 bridges side by side. Well, they're going to be, what, about 4 inches apart?
Oh, almost 6.
Almost 6. Yeah, I wouldn't think you'd want to go too wide on the base of the bent. You know, since you got double bridges right there.
Did Bob build one?
Controls it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Check out DeBob's Man Cave. He built a trestle bridge, too.
But does he show the plans on the dimensions?
I'm not sure, but you could probably message him on his G Plus page or YouTube page and ask him about it.
Isn't he like N scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could just basically double whatever he did. That's what I was thinking about with those O-scale plans.
Yeah.
And it seems like, again, I don't recall exactly, but it seems like he said that the plans he originally used were originally HO and that he had to rescale them, or, you know, there was some discussion about the plans he used, but it's just been a long time since I watched that video.
I'll tell you what, Andy, can you do an invite on him? Because if I do it, it's going to mess up the screen here.
Who's that?
DeBob.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I usually do it under Robert Olson.
Yeah. I'll go grab it.
Yeah, because I guess Bill didn't respond back.
No, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Wasn't there another gentleman that's building a trestle bridge and he's been working on it for a couple years? Like a William something.
Oh, William Gorman.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, he finished that a little while back.
There's also converters on Google that you can use to take one scale and convert it to another scale.
Yeah, I've got that converter. Very useful.
Okay. Yeah.
There's some jigs out there, though. I mean, and there's some paper plans that you can print out, lay the material down on it to build the bits. And I've even seen some jigs so that you could put a jig at the bottom and make all your forms. But the paper templates are the way to go.
Yeah, everybody I've seen, they've all just built they'll build a template so they can build their bents in the template and then take them out and set them up.
I think I saw one where it was a Google picture or something like that. I think the bottom said like 5 inches and the top said 3 inches, but it didn't have the height. So it's
yeah.
Yeah, the bottom width is entirely derived by the height you set. So, you know, it's all about height. It's all irrelevant except for the height. So,
Yeah, because I think the highest part is, if I'm not wrong, it's 14 inches.
Well, if you got a mechanical engineer friend, you tap on him and let him figure out the what the width of the base and the top is. That gives you the angle of your bent outside post.
Mm-hmm. My background is engineering, but you need the numbers.
Yeah.
You need all the numbers. Well, I'm sure I'll find it. I'm not ready to do that bridge yet, but
Well, we'll keep an eye out, see if we see anybody. But yeah, you might want to contact Bob in scale and ask him about it. If it's like Andy said, he took a HO and just scaled it down.
Now, I'm gonna go look for those plans here in a few minutes. I'm gonna go look. I know NMRA or something had those plans. I've seen them. I looked at them and looked for them. So there's a set of plans out there. But I'm gonna go look for them in a few minutes.
Oh, Gino's custom models. He said Black Bear Scale Models has HO trestle jigs. You might want to go look at that.
what is it again?
Black Bear Scale Models.
I'm going to write this down. Black Bear. Yeah, models.
Yeah,
Okay,
Gino
thanks.
kind of slipped that one in on me here.
Does he ever come on these hangouts instead of the ones he was doing those shows?
No, not too often. Gino's kind of a busy fella.
I always wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, his wife's got him doing all kinds of stuff. Laundry, house cleaning. Let's see if he'll pop in here.
Sasquatch hunting.
Yeah, Sasquatch hunting.
I go out to I go out to usually once a year to Birmingham, Alabama. Go down south. I have family out that way.
Yeah, Gino says you know it. All right, in case somebody wants to know why my camera went black, is because if I turn the camera off to try and do something, yeah, I have to reboot the Hangout to get back in. So since we're having problems, I just put the cover over the camera.
Is anybody going to, I think it's in January or in Massachusetts, in
Yeah, I think Andy's going.
Amherst.
Amherst, that's it.
My plan
I'm
is
thinking
to go. It's such a bad time of year for me, but I'm going to try. I meant to go last year. I wanted to go last year, but I said, well, the NMRA was close and we were doing that, so I would just focus on the NMRA. But I really felt like I made the wrong decision, and so I really want to go to Amherst this year.
I was thinking of going and probably attend Miles.
Clinics.
What do you call it? His clinics, yeah.
Me too. I've been talking to Miles about the, what clinic. Anyway, that's my plan as well.
It's only a 6-hour drive, so.
Oh well, see, for me, it's the reason that NMRA made more sense. For me, it's a flight. That's just all there's to it. It's a flight. It's an Airbnb. It's a rental car. Well, I might just get an Uber, but whatever. It's still it's a big deal.
There's going to be a number of people there. Well, Barry will be there too, because I think he's doing clinics for TCS and helping Miles out. Big Bill will be there. Let's see, who else? Mark Donovan said he's going to be there. I think Tony goes too.
Yep, there's a host of people going.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at going. I'd like to.
Yeah, a lot of people I can meet and shoot the shit.
Yeah. Bill Track Planner, he'll be there. He's going.
I went from. Isn't he all the way in Colorado somewhere?
Do what?
Isn't he out west?
Yeah, he's in Colorado.
That's a long way.
Oh, I'm sure they get people from as far west as California,
Oh, they have people
Oregon,
from
Washington.
They have people from overseas come. Amherst is well regarded,
Yes.
and it's with the invention of the airplane, that made things a lot easier. So, I mean, for me, it's a 2-hour flight or something. It's not a big deal.
Where are you from, Andy?
Anyway, I am in
Test tube.
yeah, I am in Central Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
So I'll fly out of Nashville. I'm pretty close to Nashville, Tennessee. So I'll catch a ride from Nashville up.
All right, Redneck Railroader.
How far are you from Nashville?
An hour. Closer to.
Redneck Railroader said he and his wife were wanting to go to the Amherst show. He's asking how far from the airport is it. I think if you fly into Hartford, Connecticut, you're not but about 15 minutes from the Amherst show.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too, and it's a $6 ride on Uber. So renting a car is not necessary. Just Uber's $6.
Well, thank you if you get one of the hotels. If you're going to stay in one of the hotels right there, I'm sure they got a shuttle bus that goes back and forth to the airport probably once an hour.
Well, that's really kind of the only good choice because camping, it's just too cold up there for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can catch a shuttle over, and I don't know if I'll do the airport or if I'll do the hotel or the Airbnb this year. I don't know. Probably maybe the hotel because a lot of stuff's happening. Kind of around there. It's the community, people getting together and stuff. But.
Yeah, David Starts said that he's going.
Yeah, it's going to be a big group of people. It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's see. Curtis, CNL Line, said he's going around the world to get there. Oh, no, he said there's people from around the world that go there.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. There's a lot of, a lot of international modelers.
I was messing with Curtis when I said he's going around the world to get there. Yeah. Well, I noticed Tom's Trains and Things. He's got him a new logo. It looks really nice. He's one of the new guys been posting here in G+.
Get on the Hangouts.
What did he get? I missed that. I've been kind of busy.
He put up a new logo.
Oh, okay. I'll go look here a little bit.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice looking logo. He should have used a showgirl on the flat car rather than him laying on the flat car, but
yeah, peanut girls make anything better, so
yeah, something about him in shorts, I don't know.
He ain't doing it for you, Johnny, I get it. Well, I mean, look, we painted peanut girls on the sides of airplanes and bombs that we were bombing Japan with, and people still think peanut girls are cool, so.
Yeah. Kurt said, I'm going around the world. Pick up people to take to the show. All women, LOL. I guess his wife's not in the room with him.
No, apparently not. And I have to say, it seems kind of, I don't see that as a big advantage for picking up women. Hey, you want to go by the railroad, honey? I just don't see that working. So,
yeah, YouTube is really buffering tonight.
And we can stream to Facebook at the same time. If YouTube keeps being problematic, we can do YouTube and Facebook simultaneously.
Oh, well, we'll have to work on that.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, even for me here, I have to keep hitting the live button to catch it back up. But I mean, the streaming help that YouTube gives me shows I'm good.
Yeah.
Is there
to them, you might be good, but out to everybody else, we have no control over.
Yeah.
Is there already a program to do that, or would you have to write it up, Andy?
I wouldn't call. I don't have to write it, but I've already built it all. For Modern Railroad Live, that website I put together, I've already built the software. It's running on a server. I didn't write it from scratch. It's just a server running the protocol. So it's a little in depth, but it's follow instructions to do it.
It's been a while since I've been. Have you uploaded that to the website? It's been a while since I've been over that way.
It's there. It's set up and ready to run. It's not exposed where anybody else can use it, but I got it set up for us. All right. Well, this bridge couldn't be harder to build. This is the craziest thing in the world to do, for this to be the first bridge I built. It is a big medium bridge. It has through girders. It has through girders like these, and it has plate girders like these that go under the ties and the line. So it has a this offset. So I got to build the piers with the offset. It's askew on both sides. It hits the bridge abutments on each side with an askewed position. It's on a curve, and it's in the easement. So the curve radius starts at like 72 and goes to 60. So it's not even a fixed curve radius, and it's the first bridge I've built in 2 decades. Hey, Bill.
How you doing, Bill?
Guys, how are you? Is this where all the cool kids are hanging out?
Yep.
I'm going to top out on Candy Crush game. I didn't get to the score. So.
Oh, there's a game tonight, wasn't there?
No, I really was doing Candy Crush. So
Sitting there at the dining room table with a hammer crushing candy, huh?
Yeah.
Like in the commercial.
Yeah. That's not how you do it. That's not how it's done.
Yeah.
So what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about signals at the beginning, then we got into bridges.
Yeah.
So, how'd you come out on your NEC problem? Any progress on that?
Well, what we did was last night, first of all, a big shout out to Chris Healy for his assistance last night in spending some time with me on the phone. It was really helpful. What he basically, we went through a series of process of first figuring out if the wiring on the layout was good. I don't have a block detection because it's not that big of a layout. So we figured we went through a series that he said, testing the engines to make sure they worked all over the layout, which they did. So it was determined that it wasn't the wiring to the layout. And then we went through each UTP panel to figure out what was going on. And basically what happened when we got to the third UTP panel, that's the one that's giving me the most problems. I wasn't getting it. I could punch in the address for the engine, but I wasn't getting it to move. And Chris suggested trying many different configurations with the wiring. Plug it in the front of the panel, take the panel off, put it on the other side. So we did that for a little while, but it was getting late. And he had to get up for work, obviously. As a retiree, I can stay up all night and do this stuff. So it wasn't going to work out. But he gave me some homework to do. And basically what he said to do was just take out all the flat wire, the RJ12. panels, except the power cab panel. Leave that in place, and just put a number the panels that you take out 1 through 3, and just set up a little workbench in front of the power cab, which I did, and just daisy chain them that way, and then see what works and what doesn't work. And that's exactly what I did. And I told you earlier, John, that it was the long wire that went from the panel, from the power cab to the first UTP panel.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the problem. So I left it, I took it out, and I put the other flat wires in the back of the panels, and I shut the system down, shut the switch off, and left the room. And then my wife Georgianne came home, and I said, "Oh, I fixed the NCE." And I said, "Come on, let me show you." And I went in, I turned the light on, and everything came up, and I went to program it, and I had the same situation all over again. So I was a little baffled, and then I realized that I left the cabs plugged into the UTP panels. And when I unplugged the panels, I unplugged the cab throttles, the extra cab throttles, and then shut everything down, went and had dinner, came back out, turned everything on, then plugged everything in again. It worked. Everything worked according to its design. So I don't think it was the wiring. I think what's going on is when I turn the system on, for some reason and everything's left plugged in. The power cab comes on, but everything is fed information to the cabs. If I leave the cabs unplugged and then wait for the system to fire up, and then once I plug the cabs in, everything works. So
you would think that wouldn't really matter if they're plugged in or not.
I don't know what the situation. I've done it several times now. I've left it for an hour. I've come back. I turn it on. I plug it in. I plug it into panel 1, panel 3, panel 4, and they all do the same thing. When I leave them in, the last time I left all the cab 6s in, plugged in, I shut the system down. It's a wall switch. Once it's shut down, it goes off. The whole system, it covers all the electric in the bedroom, in the layout room. So when I shut it down, everything goes off. So I left it in the last time, about an hour and a half. I went back in, I turned it on. Cab 2, UTP cab 2 worked. UTP cab 1 worked. And then when I went to 3 wouldn't fire up any of the engines. They put the address in, but I couldn't move it. So I unplugged them, the cabs, left them on the workbench, shut it down, rebooted, plugged them in, everything worked. So I don't know what the situation is, and I'm not going to try to guess it.
Yeah.
If it works, I'm just going to now just leave them in the holsters unplugged. And when I go in, I'll fire everything off the power cab and then subsequently. And what I did do is I simulated an operation. What I did was I unplugged cab 6 from the panel 3 and plugged it into panel 1, and then put up an address on one of the engines, and the engine worked. Then I let the engine run around, and then I unplugged it and went to panel 3, and then put another engine in and let that engine run. Then I plugged it from 3 and put it into 2 and took control of the original engine. So it all worked.
Yeah.
Does this mean you're going to move on to going to do that operating session?
As of right now, no, because I have also
ripped out the track.
Yes, I have officially ripped out the track on the peninsula, and I might be taking out the inner track as well. That's still up for debate. I'm running a general order. If anybody wants to come and work, I pay liberally. I pay liberal overtime. I give as much coffee as you can drink and all the homemade blueberry muffins you can eat. So,
is that a really important passing sighting?
Oh, yes. Yes.
It is?
You have to go from point to point. If you can't get around that, you ain't getting in the yard to classify it and to put everything down. So we got the sweepsticks from Fast Tracks put together. We welded the rail today, and we placed Fast Tracks in, and we're just playing around with it. Hopefully we'll get it done this weekend. If not, next week at least we'll be in with Tracks. So
once that's done,
once that is done, then hopefully, if not the end of next week, but the second week of November, my friend Jerry will come over and we'll do a dry operational run. We'll just go through it just to get familiar with it. And I will keep you informed.
Yeah, that finds the flaws in the layout.
That what?
Operating sessions, another thing is it finds the flaws in the layout.
Oh yes, absolutely.
It's fun though. It's once you it puts you more work.
That's all right.
Fun though, more work.
Well, is it really work or is it a hobby? I mean, we can look at it like it's work, but it's a hobby. So what do? We go down into this little glitch with the NCE, thing. I told this to Chris last night. It was, he said, "Oh, that's a pain. You got to do it." It's not a pain. It's what the hobby is. It makes you think. Got to use the brain. Got to exercise it. That's why this. I don't want to be 61 and feeble.
And I've heard modelers say this is like work. You could say that. Building beach work is like work. But if it is involved in the running of trades or the pursuit of being able to run trades, you can't call that work, no matter how hard it is.
You're giving yourself, I'm not an electronics expert. I certainly not. And I reached out to John, and then John in turn put me in touch with Chris, and Chris got in touch, back to me, and we worked it out. But you're still exercising critical thinking. And and I think that's the most important thing. I may not understand it fully. I may take from the buffet table what I need and leave the rest. Like I said earlier, I'm not into JMRI. I'm not into signaling my railroad. I'm not into doing all that. But I need to have a basic knowledge of how things should work. And so I should take a keen interest in it and not just simply blow it off. So this glitch in the NCE system has taught me, pay a little bit more attention and take from what you can, get from it. And again, if it's your passion, you'll always get into it. Like, Josh, your passion is operations
and homemade scenery.
And homemade scenery. And research. Let's not forget that as well.
Yeah, history.
And you do a great job of it, and just like the rest of us. So, it's what each brings to the table.
Though it does. A couple minutes ago, that reminded me. Remember the tortoises you gave me?
Yes.
We're last night resoldering some. We had to take off the solder you did. He said you did a really excellent job soldering it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. That's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, just real quick, Otto and a couple of others that just come in. We are having a real bad problem. YouTube's having troubles, and that's the reason why y'all are seeing a very buffered show tonight. Some of them have already dropped out, said they'll watch the recorded show. That's probably going to be about the best thing for tonight. It's nothing on my end. Phil come in and told us that YouTube is having problems, so yeah,
I was watching.
Just have to muddle through it.
Yeah, earlier tonight, one of the live bloggers was supposed to have a live show, and he did the live show, but he wasn't live because they had technical difficulties. So he did the live show, and then he can watch it on the rebroadcast. He said.
Yeah.
So technology's great when it works, isn't it?
Yeah, really. Yeah, it drives me nuts because they say we're buffering, and I'm checking everything, trying to figure out what's wrong on my end. So YouTube's telling me I got a good signal and everything's in the green, so but it's on their end this time, not mine.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of control over it, but if it keeps being a problem, we're not stuck with it. We have some choices. I'll be able to do Facebook Live at the same time. Regardless, there's not much we can do for tonight. So
yeah, we'll get worked out. Well, I'm glad to see you got it figured out there, Bill.
Actually, I don't have it figured out, but it's working.
Yeah, you got it working. Okay, working.
You know?
Well, you might drop NCE a dime and tell them what's going on. They may be able to.
Well, the process of troubleshooting is the same process you would apply to working on a car or figuring out anything else. Simplify it, add something back. As soon as you add something back and it breaks, there's your problem. We talked about it once before too. But I think the problem you're having is more than just one component. It works fine except for, unless, it works fine if I eat dinner before I operate. And I've read some of those manuals and I've never seen anything about, dinner time in the NCE manual. So there's something else going on there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I drop them a dime, let them know what's going on.
You
did have that one problem back, first of the summer, your screen had gone black or?
Oh, that was due to static electricity. And when I sent the power cab back to them, what they basically did was they upgraded. They replaced the LEDs. They put a new chip, an updated chip, and they sent it back. So
that's one of the best sales pitches for them you could have.
But that static electricity could zap something else that didn't show up at the time. Now it's showing up.
Last night when we were working on the track and I went to the track to put something on the track and I got zapped with static electricity.
Yeah, you got to put yourself a static pad over by the door so you can touch it before you go in, and then touch it every now and then. All you got to do is just, a piece of aluminum foil or something, attach your wire to it, and then put it on the ground plug of an outlet. It's that half moon shaped one, not the blade. You want to put it in the half moon. That's the ground there.
That could be it too. It could be static electricity is playing havoc with the cabs.
Yeah. You can buy anti-static spray, for clothes and spray the rug with that occasionally. That's what I've done here is I'll spray the rug right here at the computer.
Sure.
But my switcher that I got a Kingston Masterpiece switcher that I plug a computer, monitor, printer, and all that in and be able to turn them on and off right here.
Yep.
But it has a piece of metal with the logo and the name on it, and that's my anti-static discharge. And I can just come in and touch that because it's just a piece of ground that run into the ground of the system.
That really does explain the problem, though, Bill, is not having a proper ground in the system. And it's not as simple as just static electricity building up on the carpet. It's a proper ground on the system, because that would explain the time that it works under a certain condition, but with certain time delays, it does or doesn't work. Right. Ground has a lot to do with that, because if you give it a little bit of time, there's enough time for any extra charge to dissipate. That's a good one, though.
So, yeah.
Andy, can you send Dave an invite? He's got all kinds of problems trying to get in.
Sure thing.
Yeah, actually, Bill, next time your electrician comes over, he may not have one, but they can test the ground system on the house. It's called a mega ohm meter.
Yeah.
And they can hook that up and test the whole house ground system too. Of course, if you don't know what you're doing, you'll kill everybody within 10 feet of it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'll have to wear my aluminum tinfoil hat when he does it.
Yeah. No, but they can't test the ground system because the house I grew up in, I redid the water system in it, and I replaced all the metal pipe with PVC, and the whole house is grounded to the water system. So I had to go in and put in some ground wires going outside to an actual ground rod. And when I did that, boy, it's amazing how, the lights seemed to be brighter. Electrical appliances were working better.
Yeah.
Just stuff you don't really notice every day.
So is there any way to ground that can be grounded, or just do like what you said, put a ground wire in or a static pad in?
Well, the static pad helps you with ambient static, like it builds up from carpet.
Right.
What I'm thinking that may be the case is an improper ground to the system, like would be in your breaker box or things like that. You could take an independent ground wire, get it back to your system. Generally speaking, I would say that's relatively safe for a homeowner to do, but there's got to be some legal disclaimer here that I should be saying. But it's generally within the purview of an electrician to help you fix that problem. But if you could get a physical ground somewhere, you could probably solve it without an electrician.
You know what? Another thing is, I see for because sometimes with our O scales, there's a lot of these toy high rail or toy train layouts. Pretty much what there are is more of a toy train realistic layout. So they usually have multiple track levels to fix the different waves going to different systems. They usually run a from your cord ground, like a ground from a plug. They run the ground with a wire. It might be underneath. It might be in a building or on a telephone pole along the track with just a regular ground wire from a cord, like a extension cord, kind of like. So just the wire, like a bare ground wire.
Something to take in. I got it. That's possibility.
And it might be realistic because then you could if you had telegraph poles, like old telegraph lines or anything along the tracks, you could just put a ground wire over top of it, see if it does that. I've seen a no gauge. One guy on YouTube that does that, that's my hobby shop. Eric Siegel. Eric's Trains. He's really famous in the no gauge hobby. He's one of the most famous high railers. So he's done that in his tunnels because he had two levels on top, and he was giving waves between each other, and they were making the engine stop working.
Okay. Well, I'll let this.
I got to try that.
I'm no electrician, but isn't a normal wall socket a 3? There's your positive, your negative, and then a ground.
On the older houses, like this house, we've replaced some of them. Though most of them are just the two power sources, ground and the plus, the power and ground.
So a 2-prong plug is grounded.
No.
Yeah, because I muted.
I know
nobody see me.
Right.
On the phone.
So your NCE system, because I have one, is only a 2-plug. Plug. So it's not. It's not grounded.
18.2%.
That is correct.
Okay.
Like 21,200.
That could problem. Absolutely, that could, after all the elimination of the flat wire, the RJ12 flat wire working now. That's most likely the situation I'm seeing.
And how long is your RJ12 flat wire?
It's less than 25 feet from the power cab to the first panel. The UTP panel is less than 25 feet, and then then when you daisy chain it from panel 1 to panel 2, it's 15 feet. And then it shoots right across the peninsula, which is less than 5 feet.
And how is it getting over to the peninsula?
It's shooting underneath the peninsula. It's going across underneath the peninsula, straight across to the panel 3.
Okay.
I already put a wall wart in there to see if it needed to be powered, and it didn't. I tested it, and it was getting enough juice in it. So the wall wart wasn't doing anything extra for it.
Okay, well, I know MRC, when I was talking to them once about hooking up the panels, both sides of the layout, they had told me that if you surpass the 10 foot that comes, or 9 foot or 10 foot that comes with the equipment, that you have to power it because you will lose the digital signal.
Is that MRC or NEC?
That was MRC, but he was referring it to all. He said if the signal, from the command central to the jump box to plug into is more than 10 feet away, the DCC signal will still be there, but it will not function properly, and you need to have a booster to kick it. So they sell those plugins that you put in, they sell them with a power pack right on them. And you just plug it in the wall. And then when you plug in your cab, you're getting that extra power. That's what I was trying to explain when I said, are they powered?
Right. No, I knew I knew exactly what you were saying, and I have the wall warts to plug into the back of it. But when I talked to Mike at NCE, I think his name was Mike. He told me that their product is over 40 feet. If it's over 40 feet from the power cab, then you need to boost it with the wall wart plug. So I was like, okay, it's not over 40 feet. So he goes, okay, so from the power cab to this panel, how many feet is that? And I said, less than 15 to 20 feet. So then he said, from cab 1 to cab 2, how many feet? I said, approximately about maybe 13. And then 7 feet across. So he says, well, you're kind of like borderline right there. So I'll try it with the wall wart. I'll plug it into the back and of one of the panels to boost it and see what happens.
Right. Well, NEC, if my reading recalls me correctly, NEC runs off of a regular telephone jack.
Yeah, R12 flat wire.
Whereas the MRC runs off the Ethernet jack. So that may be why there's a shortage in the power transfer
on the MRC.
Well,
right.
And you're talking about two very different protocols here. So what you're talking about is the difference in the DCC bus and the throttle bus. What Bill's having problems with is not his DCC system. He's not losing DCC signal to the rails of the bus. It's his throttle bus. And that's an NEC only technology. It's proprietary to NEC how that works. There are people who talk about that throttle bus having a problem after some amount of distance and having to put a terminator at the end of the loop. But there's no way you're having that problem. You're talking about 100 by 100 foot layouts might have that problem. So
right.
So you have a misbehaving piece of equipment, or it's getting dirty electricity.
Right, which I tend to think it's the latter.
I do too. There's a whole host of reasons why, and I didn't think about this the first time we talked about this some time back, but I didn't think about that. There are some ways to test that with a multimeter, however you want to say it. But you'd have to, cut the power to that room, cut it off in your breaker, and take a multimeter and see what your impedance is to ground. Check your voltage. Those kind of, there's some couple things you could do to kind of find out what the status is.
Not bad, mate. And yourself? Been a while to catch up. Yeah, I'm in today. Looks like we're gonna get a big thunderstorm here this afternoon at 30 degrees Celsius here at the moment. And it's clouding in. Looks like we're gonna get a humongous thunderstorm this afternoon. Yeah, well, we're sort of in a semi-drought here too at the moment. Usually this time of the year for us, being late spring, early summer, everything's nice and green, but it's been a dry winter and everything's dry. We've had a few storms, but the ground's so dry, the water's just running off. And then I was talking to Ron last night in Victoria, ACES, and like they've had a dry summer down there, but they've had a wet winter. And he sent me some pictures last night around his place where it's flooded, and he says it hasn't been flooded like that for 16 years. So he's in the wet, we're in the dry. So yeah. Still non-existent at the moment. My train room's full of my daughter's furniture. She's in the process of moving houses. Yeah, mate. Yeah. So, yeah, we're supposed to have a working bee up there on this Sunday, and then next Sunday we've got our monthly run day. So, yeah, so that keeps me happy of being able to go up to Stews and run a few trains up there. Seeing I can't do anything on mine at the moment.
I put a link for Hawk on how to build that trestle. Yep.
Where'd you get it from? Because I know I've seen wood. Where'd that come from?
It came off of YouTube, but it's off of Railroad TV, and it looks like it's a series. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I've seen this one too. This is he's using jigs too. Oh, that's cool. That's good. Also, any of you guys that are having that buffering problem, I dropped out and watched for a few minutes as well, and it was driving me crazy. But if you'll pull the slider back about a minute behind, pause it a second, let it catch up, yeah, you'll be a minute or two behind, but that's going to happen with the buffering anyway. But it seems to work a lot better.
If you do that, I'll give you the winning lottery number. So go back. That's not how time continuum space works. Quantum leap. That's not how it works. Right?
I got the link. Thanks.
Is that where that's going? Is that where it's going, Hawks? In that little vacant spot you're working at right there?
Yeah, that's where it's going.
Yeah, 2 tracks going across it. You have one bridge in front of another, or each of those back tracks stuck?
Yeah, there's one here.
Yep.
And the other one is I'd say about maybe 10 inches further.
Very cool.
I was looking for maybe putting a trestle bridge in the front and like a metal one in the back, but A metal curved bridge does not exist.
Yeah, it does. A steel trestle for microengineering. I've got to build at least 3 for my layout. 4, at least 4 for my layout. Microengineering steel trestle, and it's a plate girder bridge with steel trestle bits or towers between them. I love those. They're one of my favorite bridges in the world.
Is it curved?
Yeah, it can be built curved. Yes, but all 3 of the 4 I have to build, 3 of them are curved. The crazy thing is I tried to pack so much into my layout that the vast majority of my turnouts are curved and just about curved, which even on the prototype, they're just about always curved. Anyway, on my line, this is mountain railroading. There's curves everywhere. So all the bridges I'm building right now are curved. I haven't built a bridge. I've never built a bridge in my life modeling that wasn't just straight out of a kit, built exactly the way it's supposed to be built. I've never done a whole lot of kit bashing and engineering, but now I'm building bridges and massively kit bashing and modifying them, and they're all curved. And the one been working on tonight is built in the easement of a curve because there's a turnout right off that bridge. So it comes out and goes into an easement. So the whole time it's going across it's 5 bridges together. It's 2 plate girders at each side, 2 plate girders, 1 at each end, the entry and exit bridges. And between it, there's 3 through girders that are on a curve and they're on an easement. So the curve is getting steeper as it goes through the bridge.
Yeah, but those steel curved bridges, they're mainly girders. They're not like a suspended bridge or something like that.
No,
they're just girders.
Yeah, but they have towers, multiple towers, and then you have straight girders between them. But you build it on a curve, so it's slight angles, and then your track lays across it on a curve. The bridge that Johnny was talking about that Ron Kleiss built is that microengineering steel trestle I'm talking about, and he built his on a curve as well. So,
I got too many mute buttons here. I've been talking and nobody's been hearing me. But I guess that could be a good thing too.
No.
Isn't that what they called old age?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Johnny will just have to rename the show for you and call it the Dementia Show.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Yeah. How you doing, Jason?
Doing all right.
You look tired.
Yeah, I don't feel good today.
Long day, huh?
Yeah, it was.
The Cubs playing?
No, they play tomorrow.
Oh.
Today's travel day.
Oh, they're traveling back to Chicago, right?
Yeah. I think it's 3 games there.
Who they opening with on the mound on tomorrow?
Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks
Oh,
will be starting tomorrow.
cool.
Oh, Indians.
I didn't know you were a Cubs fan, Jason.
I'm no Cardinal fan.
No, I know that's a big rivalry between.
In Illinois, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I went to a Chicago Cubs game a couple of years ago when they were playing St. Louis at Wrigley, and I was really surprised. I was like talking to a couple of Cubs fans, and they were telling me what the rivalry was like. I was like, holy moly.
Yeah, it's ugly. There's some ugly ones. The thing is, I don't get that bad. There's good fans and there are bad fans.
Oh, it's like everything else.
Yeah, it's like there's good Mets fans, there's good or bad Mets fans.
True.
It happens. The thing is I went away from baseball after '94. Soccer won
Nah.
me over after that. Because that was the year when U.S. hosted the World Cup.
Right.
But yeah, I would love to go to Chicago just for the trains now.
Oh, the subway system?
No. The other trains.
The real trains.
Yeah, the real trains. But the subway system over there is a lot better than the St. Louis one. Smoother ride, I'm assuming. But St. Louis is pretty smooth too at times. They've been working on their light rail system over there. So who knows? Actually, I would love to go just to get into Union Station. Just take a look at that. When I went up to Chicago on a train, I didn't get into the Union Station. I had to stay on the train.
Right.
Because I was on an excursion.
How many Union stations are there?
Nowadays, I think there's only one now. Now in Chicago, I think there was like 3 or 4, if I remember right.
Well, you got Chicago.
Yeah.
You have Kansas City. And I'm trying to think what's the other one.
What about New York?
That's Grand Central.
That's Grand Central.
Yeah, though in Chicago back in the day, they did have I think they had 2 or 3 Union stations in Chicago itself.
No, there was only one Union station. Okay. They called the others like
wasn't
13th Street and
wasn't the other Union Station in Los Angeles?
Yeah, Los Angeles Union Station.
And I think there's a Union Station in New Orleans. I don't forget.
The reason I ask is because when I go over to Grand Rapids here in Michigan, there is a Union Station in Grand Rapids that's about a mile long with a rail tracks behind it, and there's always cars sitting at it. It's not a passenger station. It's like a freight station because one whole side is dock doors for the trains and the other side is semis things, but there's a big sign on it that says Union Station.
Yeah.
It probably used to be passenger service, but they've all been retrofitted or moved to whatever. There was Union stations in a lot of major cities. Cincinnati Union Station. There was a bunch of those throughout the country at various points in history. And then after the 60s, you started seeing a lot of those be torn down or retrofitted into other uses.
Yeah. It's like in my hometown, Springfield, there was a Union Station there. That was what now is the visitor center for the President Museum, Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. That's the visitors center. But yeah, St. Louis had one. I've been up in St. Louis Union Station plenty of times. So, yeah.
All right, Dwight says in St. Paul they renovated the station called Union Station.
Yeah, could be.
He said Union Station is for passenger and has light rail serving it.
Well, Grand Central is like that. Grand Central was purposely built because they didn't want steam engines coming into the city. When they electrified the system, they had it brought in underground. There's 3 levels in the Grand Central, 2 for the railroad and 1 for the subway system.
Does Penn Station predate that, or did Penn Station originally say stayed?
Grand Central predates that. Penn Station came later.
Yeah.
That's part of the Long Island Railroad, Penn Station. That is the Long Island Railroad. Everything comes in and out of Penn Station. All the electric runs out of Penn and Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, and then it stops at Babylon, and then the electrified end of it stops at Babylon, New York, Long Island, and then everything is diesel out to Montauk, affectionately known as the end of the world.
So do they pull it with electric out, and then they do a motive power swap somewhere out of there, or do they have? I guess they do a motive power swap. They wouldn't have.
Yeah, they bring it. Yeah, basically what you do is you just at Babylon you transfer. If you're going further out, you transfer off the train. They don't do a swap right there. The train stops and then it goes back to Penn Station.
Yeah, because the problem with pumping air brakes and all the other jazz that would have to be done, that makes sense. That's awesome. And they've been doing that since when they outlawed steam in the city in 1930 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like I assume you were around, but I know you love the railroads from around there. So I know there was a way early time when that happened. That was gone a long time ago. And the railroads would have done great if they had actually moved to electric nationwide. That would have been awesome.
There was actually, I know Conrail had plans to electrify the Horseshoe Curve.
Everybody had plans. If you had asked a railroad tycoon in 1930, electric was the future. But they could, and they were doing it. They were, the NW started putting electric in 33. They run it until 50. That's one of the reasons that I modeled 1950 is I catch the very last year of electric power. The PNC run a lot of power. The Northeast Corridor, it's still electrified to this day, and it's awesome being electrified. They redone the C&O and TP, which is the heaviest travel main line in the central part of the U.S. It goes from Cincinnati down to Chattanooga, infamously called the Rat Hole. And when they rebuilt it in 44 or 45 at the end of the war, they built concrete tunnel linings, and they're like 20 feet taller than the trains going through. They're huge because they intended for them to have catenary.
Well, now they run double stacks through there.
Well, you could run a double stack through. You could run a triple stack through there and still stand on top of it. Yeah. They are insane.
What you been up to lately, Phil?
Nothing. Living life, doing well. We had snow yesterday here.
Ouch.
What?
Yes, we had snow and it actually stuck on the ground overnight and disappeared about midday today.
Must have been just a half inch or so.
Yeah. Big wet white fluffy flakes all day yesterday afternoon. Yeah. I've been over at my mom's. She's seems to be calling me every day with something that needs to be done.
Yeah, I know that one.
The only thing on the railroad that I've been working on is my split rail fence, and I put up a little bit and need to wait for the glue to dry. And
Are you scratch building it, or are you using some kit?
Am I what, Andy?
Are you scratch building it, or are you using somebody's kit? Like, there's a couple companies that make some kits for split rail fences, or are you just scratch building it?
I bought posts and rails off a gentleman off of eBay that it appears that he took oak branches and split them.
Oh.
Because there's little knots in some of them, like where a branch would be.
That's awesome.
And so I went through and colored them all, and now I'm scratch building. I mean, it's piece by piece.
Yeah, brother, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So looking pretty good, huh?
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
That's all that counts. It's the only measuring stick there is.
You've inspired me, Phil, to go out and purchase another brewery, the Brooklyn Lollipop Factory, and rebuild the old. After seeing your factory build, I was like, I got to do that a little bit more diligently.
I would suggest also buying a tube of model plastic in the tube, because there's definitely some spots on that kit where it's needed.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No, there is no doubt about it. I mean, after building the first one, and now every time I go into the layout room and I see it, I'm like, oh. I put some lighting in the back, and you could actually see where all the open. I'm like, so.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rebuild it.
For the price of that kit.
I know it's expensive.
It's very expensive, and it's a nice kit, but man, for the price.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You probably could do just as good as job taking a floor plan and scratch building one,
Yeah.
Or take the walls apart, lay them out on styrene or wood or whatever material, and mark them out. You basically get a sheet. That's helps a lot.
I bought I just got it today in the mail. Let me put my camera on. The loading dock from Custom Model Railroad. Acrylic. HO scale kit features laser cut acrylic parts, glue and paint, obviously not included. Can be constructed as standalone building or two background flats, which I'm building, two background flats.
I hadn't seen that kit. Custom Model Railroad. It's a good looking kit.
It is. I like it. It's a simple acrylic. Now the acrylic, that's with CA glue, right?
Sure. Yeah, you could. Acrylic's pretty. Okay. You could. I would use a high quality plastic like 10X or something, because it'll break down acrylic, I think. You can't use this with resin, and you don't like CA for most things. I do. It's great. I love using CA. I've done a lot of stuff with CA. It gets brittle though. So over time,
plastic
if you pull your kit out, the CA does. So if you went and pulled that kit out later to move it around, to clean it, to detail it, to weather it, it gets brittle, and you'll have problems with parts falling off or the walls separating over time. So on my original wood kits, for example, that I first built, I used CA. And now I'm going back, or I'm not going back, but all the kits I'm building from here on out, I'm using wood glue, even though it takes a lot longer because that CA gets so brittle.
What about quick drying epoxy? Two-part epoxy.
No question. If you're doing resin or hydrocal, epoxy is the only way to go. So quick epoxy, although it's hard to dilute. So most of the time when most people would use epoxy, I like contact cement better because you could dilute it with MEK or acetone. Dilutes a little better with MEK, but MEK is so toxic that I mean, I use MEK, but you probably should be using acetone for it. But you could dilute MEK or contact cement with MEK or acetone and get something that's easy to apply with a with a micro brush, and it sets up pretty quick. That works great. Well, the MEK will eat that bottle.
Yeah,
So
they threw this bottle in for nothing. It came with it.
Oh, those are awesome.
And it's a good thing I checked the packing slip.
Yeah. What would you use in a plastic bottle though? You'd have to use it'd have to be CA or something because any of your plastic adhesives would attack it. Acetone or MEK would attack it. That's awesome. Yeah, those are $6-7 bottle too. So
Yeah, good thing I checked the packing slip because the box was about to go into the garbage. And I saw the packing slip and I said, it says here 1 glue bottle. So I went to it and there it was.
Yep, that's cool.
Yeah, this is the future build. It's half a telephone book on instructions.
That's the difference in a cheap kit and a good kit. If you spend $30 or you spend $300, the biggest difference is the instructions.
Yeah,
well, I would venture to say the
here's
first.
the instruction manual that it came with.
Wow! Wow! Seriously?
Yeah, I got a lot of reading to do.
Come with that, gosh.
Well, Bill, I'd say the first 2 pages, somewhere along in there, it should tell you what glue to use with it.
I'm just going to read the first, and then I'm going to go right to the last page. And then I'll just figure it out from there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can really do all that reading in that binder thing. I mean, I appreciate the binder too.
Have you guys noticed over there a price rise in the Walters kits? Because down here, like the local distributors down here, all their Walters kits, the price has gone through the roof.
Yeah, I haven't seen a change in the Walters kits in price, not enough to make it to notice it. I wonder if that's if that has something to do with the tariff or the shipping, because shipping is rough for you guys, I know.
Yeah. I saw a kit. I saw somebody was selling on eBay on your eBay the other day, which I was looking at. One of the new N-scale modern power stations, and forget what the price. He only wanted a reasonable price for the kit, but hell, he wanted $45 to send it down here.
Gosh.
Like I used to buy a few bits and pieces from model train stuff, and their shipping prices to Australia were always pretty good. But now you can't get no cheap postage from them now, mate. Sort of everything is $30, $40, $50 to get anything sent down from model train supply now.
It always seemed, I've talked to, quite a few people down under it. That's been part of the conversations about that. It always seemed like it would be the logical thing to do is save the money up, fly over here every 2 years and spend a few grand, pack it back in bags with you and just do it every few years and build up a few years worth of modeling. And at least if you're going to spend the money, at least you get a trip out of it. You get to come over and rail fan, operate a few layouts. Because ultimately, if you bought a few things over, if you bought a few $1,000s worth of stuff over a few years, you would spend as much money in shipping as a plane ticket would cost.
Oh, Curtis.
Stuff I want, I just I just buy it and get it shipped to Vinny, and then when I get a box full of stuff, I get him to ship it over for me.
That's smart. That's good. Yeah.
Works out cheap, you know.
Yeah. You got to outsmart it.
Well, you know, you got Greg planning on coming up sometime again. You buy him a suitcase, and he could fill it up, bring it back.
Well, I don't think so, because Stu and I have already told him if he goes for another trip to the States that we're hopping in the bags. Yeah. So
he must be staying pretty doggone busy. I hadn't seen a post from him in a while now.
Well, last run day he was supposed to come to Stu's, and he rang Stu in the morning and said he was he had a couple of jobs to do on his house, and if he got them finished early, he was going to come up, but he didn't turn up. But he told Stu that he's been doing a lot of weekend work with QRL because they've been having a lot of track shutdowns over the weekend. So he said most of his weekends he's been working.
Yeah.
So yeah. So hopefully not this weekend, but next weekend he might turn up for the run day at Stu's. So
yeah, he does. Yeah. Tell him we said hey up here. Yeah, if he does show up, tell him we said hello.
You coming in RDD2 there, John?
Am I? Thank you, YouTube.
We're on a different planet, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. We just don't have much control over the internet connection. You know, the sad thing is Johnny has a great internet connection. So, I mean, like I'm in the IT world. I work with computers all the time, and he has an enviable internet connection. And he doesn't have a problem. So it's not. And he just built a new computer that would play any video game on the market if he wanted to. So you can't beat it if you have an awesome internet connection and a great, powerful computer that still don't work good.
All right. What about now?
Yeah. You're good.
5 by 5.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say it because Glenn will be jumping on me again. I forgot what it was I was talking. Huh?
I said, what did dementia take over?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Okay, that's it for me, guys.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming in, Mr. Hawks.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see everybody.
Hey, Lloyd.
Have a good one.
Hopefully you'll find a link in there somewhere of good use for the bridge.
Yeah, I'm going to go look at that link that was posted. I'm going to go look at it.
Yeah.
And I'll give you feedback next Thursday.
Yeah, all right.
That's okay. Good deal.
Good night.
Bye. Have a good one. Hey, Hawks. Dang it. About the time he leaves, here comes the guy we told him to hook up with, Bob.
Me?
Yeah. How
What?
you doing, Bob?
I missed something.
Yeah, you did.
Well, let's just ask him about it then.
You know,
That trestle bridge you built,
Yeah.
was that an HO plan that you scaled down?
No, it was pretty much off the seat of my pants.
Oh.
I kind of took what I needed to make fit, and then I used, I think, Blackwood products, some design for a trestle bents. I just made my own trestle bents out of it, and, kind of took it from there.
So did you use some plan, or did you get a plan that told you what hitch to make the outside pilasters of the bits, or did you just guess at a measurement?
I pretty much guessed.
All right, no worries.
You know,
looks good. Ain't nobody can argue with that. But
No, it does look good.
Yeah, I kind of took I found a plan from one of the other manufacturers out there that you can, I think Black Bear or something. It was Black something.
Bear Scale Mall. That's what Curtis posted up here.
Yeah.
So I kind of looked at their stuff for design of what they wanted to make, and it kind of gave me some measurements and stuff like that. So I kind of went, okay, I'll kind of draw something out, and says, okay, that looks like it's even, and made a little form for it so that I could make all my bends, and yeah, just made it fit. Made it too tall, but I made it fit.
did you have to shave the track up a touch?
Yeah, well, I had to cut off the bottom layer because I forgot that my picture looked bigger than it actually was, because I put on 2-inch pieces of foam instead of like a 1/8 of an inch piece of foam, the way the plan had looked. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks great. It's like, wait a minute, I'm putting on thicker foam. I can't do that. So I had to shorten it up. But it happens. As long as it wasn't too short, I had to start all over.
Yeah, really. Just add extensions to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have had to put, some other features in there, I guess, to make it look right. But,
yeah.
Well, the prototype, they don't use, there's prototype bridges out there that are 200 feet tall. They didn't go find a 200-foot tree and cut it down. They're in, they're componentized wood, so you could have worked that out.
Yeah. Mine just must have had about, that 150-foot tree.
Yeah. I like the componentized, the separated wood or whatever of them. And I do have to build a couple small, what they call a pile trestle. I got to build a couple of those. They're just, single bits, no cross bracing, just single piles, go across a couple creeks. But other than that, everything on my railroad's all steel. So, and I've spent a year looking for brass to try to build them out of brass. And I just can't find a good way to do that. So plastic it is.
Yep. Oh. I was over at James's house tonight helping him set up his Halloween decoration stuff.
How's he doing?
Oh, he's busy.
Yeah.
Very busy.
Yeah, I saw he did a review on a G-scale train set he posted.
He just posted that tonight. Well, actually, he posted it this afternoon, but the views weren't going up, so he started posting to all these groups.
Nice legs, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went over there and fixed a cardboard fireplace that was just kind of just crunched up and caving in, wouldn't stand up on its own anymore. Built a wood frame and shoved on the inside of it and nailed it to it. It's solid now.
So how you doing, Ralph?
I'm doing well. I'm still suffering a little bit with the back pain, but I'm managing through it.
That's good. Getting down to crunch day.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. I have to have this done by Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah, the floating
Yep.
PW.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna have to call it a night, guys.
All right, Jason. You have a good one. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
Night, Jason.
Yep.
Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had this thing planned so that I had LEDs in the wheel pods where the wheels were, and when I turn the LEDs on, it disrupts the magnetic flow or whatever, the magnetic field, and it goes crashing to the ground. As soon as I power up the LEDs, so I'm bypassing the LEDs. There's no way around it right now.
Yeah.
Too short a time.
Yeah. I guess putting any other electrical field in there is going to disrupt it.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because when you play with magnets and copper pipe, if the guy that I got the idea from or got the instructions from on how to do the magnetic thing, he explained to me if you play around with some magnets, you'll see what happens with copper. Even though copper is not attracted to a magnet, it does change the flow of the magnetic flux or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the field. Yeah.
Field. So I had a 3/4 inch pipe about 3 foot long of copper, and I had 6 half-inch diameter magnets stacked on top of each other. And he said, try dropping it down the tube. Hold the tube straight up and down. Try dropping it through. I expected to go directly to the floor, right? Not even a second count. It took 3.5 seconds to come out of the pipe.
Yep, a lot of resistance because of the magnetic field. Go look up, go sometime when you guys got free time on YouTube, go look for cheap magnetic trade or something, and they take and make springs and then take a AA battery, put a magnet on each side, and put it through that spring, and it'll just go right around. And it's amazing. It's so cool.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's magnets. Electromagnetism is just fascinating. Of course, I'm electrical engineer, and I fell in love with that stuff years ago. But they used to think those were two separate things. Magnetism, electricity, two separate things. It took them a long time to figure out they're the same thing.
Yeah. One's harnessed, the other one's not.
Yeah.
And they wonder how the pyramids were built.
Good one.
Magnets.
No, they got that figured out, right? Aliens. That's what I keep hearing.
Wasn't that by Shapiro and Company?
What I keep coming up with.
Shapiro.
Shapiro.
No, Andy.
Sir.
For creeks, I'm using magic water. How would you keep the water from going down the hill? I said, what's your technique of doing it?
I have it really easy. Mine's modules, so I could just take one, lead it up flat, lay it in. But if you just put magic water is really hard to deal with for that reason. If you're trying to do depth, you've got to get that stuff. You've got to get that layout level. You have to take like a floor jack and jack up part of it till you get it level. But if you'll use this gloss medium stuff, I don't know what mine is, but if you use that artist gloss medium, and I have Mod Podge, so I had some Mod Podge gloss. That works, but if you put it on very thick, it gets foggy. But if you'll get an artist's gloss gel and use it, there it is. If you'll get an artist gloss gel and use it, it won't run on you. Just paint it on it, somewhat of a layer, and then come back and put more on. And you can even put ripples and stuff in it. Take a brush and kind of stipple it in.
Yeah, I already
There's
ordered.
grades of it as well.
I already bought the stuff though.
Well, the magic water is good stuff. I am a complete fan. When I do the rivers where I want some depth, I'm going to use magic water. I've always used Envirotex, but from what I've been learning recently, watching videos and watching Kathy Millett do it, talking about the aging of Envirotech. Because I
What's the Envirotech is not that good, and the Magic Water is not that good either. The other one that's good is from the what's that company? The Instant Water.
Oh yeah,
Woodland Scenics.
Woodland Scenics. Now I use that on a river. I got to tell you that was by far the best.
Yeah, yours looks great. The
By
Woodland
far.
Scenics
It
water.
sets up. You got it. The whole thing is the prep. Once the prep is done, make sure everything is sealed and there's no leakage. Then when you pour that in, I'm telling you, it's self-leveling and it works well. That Magic Water, I'm telling you, it smells and it's not that good. Envirotech, you got to use it, and it yellows. The Envirotech yellows after a while.
Can you get the thickness? Now, first off, the Woodland Scenics water effects, which is what is a top coat for getting the ripples, which is very similar to this. That is an exceptional product. There's no.
Yeah.
Can you get the other one, the one you're talking about, that's meant for building up the body? Can you get that thick?
Yes.
You have to pour it about 1/16 of an inch in layers.
Yes, that's exactly right.
How thick is yours? How thick did you go with yours?
It's maybe about I didn't go really thick. I poured two. I bought how many bottles? It was cheaper to do because the bottles was $17, and I bought 2 bottles, as opposed to.
That's an expensive mistake too if you screw it up.
Yeah, right. With the Envirotech is what, $30-something?
Yeah, I did it. Did it with my little trestle scene there. I screwed that up.
But now Envirotech's Magic Water will cover a pretty doggone big area, but there's no question, Envirotech's or Magic Water are an absolute pain to work with. There's no elegant way to put it. They're not pleasant to work with. They have a lot of room for error. If you miss the quantities, the 1-to-1 or the 1-to-2 ratio of Magic Water, if you miss that by very much, you're going to have water that's sticky for, your life.
Yeah, the original.
You know what was good?
On.
You know what was good about this this stuff that I used? After it was set and cured for about 2-3 months, and it was down, and I had weather. I had put the ripple effect in and the running water. The whole stream thing.
Yep.
I was changing out a few things, and I took about maybe 3 to 4 boxcars, and I laid them on wheels down. And I, like everything else, I totally forgot about it and walked away, and 2-3 days later, I come back, and as I walk back into the room, what do I see on the river but the 4 boxcars wheels down? So I pick up the wheels, I pick up the boxcars, and what happened? I got dimple marks in the water. So I'm saying to myself, this is like, now I got to live with this, but I'll tell you what happened. After a couple of days, I came back in and I looked, and they had
leveled out.
Or something?
They leveled out. They just leveled out, and I went over it and I said, "Wow, this is pretty good." Not that I'm going to do that again and lay all the boxcars on there when I need to.
No,
but it was nice to know that it has that effect, and I've gone back over it with some of the weathering effect to bring out some more ripples, because what I want to do is I want to put a drain pipe on underneath the windowsill, because it sits by the window. I want to put a small PVC pipe with some dirty water running out of it. So
yeah, being able to change it and modify it, and just because you go out of your way to not set cars on it or something, what if you can easily drop a throttle or something. Mine's right along the front edge of the layout where I'm going to have a river for a distance. So that self-healing is a very valuable attribute.
I would look into that before I'd go with the Envirotech, because that, like I said, and Bob said, it's an expensive process, and if you screw it up, you're like, oh.
But the nice part about all of them is you can put the artist gel that Andy's talking about on top of it to finish it off and give it waves.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you end up with Magic Water that's a little bit sticky, you can put a coat of the artist gel on top. And you got to remember, this stuff takes probably months to properly cure.
Boy,
Yeah.
it does forever.
What I'm thinking is I'm just gonna use the Mod Podge and some of this gravel I picked up from a local park, like a really thin limestone,
That's
and
what I did.
make it like a dam between each of the levels of the hill.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Newcastle.
What?
Go check out DJ Trains.
Okay, I know. That's the layout I was watching it from. How to make a creek.
Oh, you did watch that video?
Yes, I follow him all the time.
Yeah, because he did that in steps, I believe it was. He put dams up and poured it in sections.
Yep.
To keep it from running.
I'll tell you, no matter on my river scene, what I did was I used when I first started building it out and everything, I put down waterproof clear caulking, and I put it on the back edge, and I dammed up the front edge, and I was like, I made sure. I said to myself, there's no leakage here, no leakage. I know I got no leakage here. And I poured that water, and I waited, and the next day I came in and I looked under the layout, and there it was.
Yep.
Yeah, what I do is at least the part I've done before, I've had that experience one already time. I just mix up a batch of plaster, and I put a cork in front, a hot glue cork in front, smooth out the plaster, then let that dry, then pour the water, and then take out the cork.
Tell you what, you can't protect from it 100%. I mean, you could take perfectly sealed, and one trick I've heard is to take and pour water into whatever you're gonna put, wherever you're gonna put it, and let the water sit there for a day or something to make sure there's nothing that's gonna break. I have heard that. Otherwise, you can take a perfectly sealed container and poke it with a needle, and everything would end up under the layout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
what we
I
did
tried
out,
the water.
Yeah, what we did out there at the store, or Mike did, just before I got there, that O-scale layout up front. It's got a river scene on it.
Yep.
But all that is he had laid plaster cloth down, in the bed of it and up the sides, and put a little extra plaster in there. Let all that dry real good. And we just had to make sure on the front of it that we had that dammed up. And we poured the Viratex because he mixed it up. Poured that in there. I guess we got lucky because it never did leak out.
I mean, sometimes people do get lucky with it, but boy, that story of a whole vat of Viratex or whatever ended up under the layout, that's a really, really common story.
I think that happened. I think that happened on Model Railroad. I think
Yep,
they were
Kalmbach, they were doing project layout and stunk out the whole building. Right.
Yeah,
that was their story.
Viratex, and then they left for the night. When they came back, it was all on the floor.
Yeah, when I did mine, I dammed mine up with silicone and everything else, but I just had plain foam, so I didn't seal it with anything. So I poured water in there, and it was like, nope, it's not leaking out of this silicone past this little waterfall. That Woodland Scenic stuff found a crack past the silicone and ate and dissolved the foam around it and made a hole. So it started dripping down.
That's my first layout. I did the same thing. That's why I couldn't get it when I tore down the land. I could barely get on. I actually finally did though off the layout because it was all sealed.
Well, my layout's all styrofoam, as everybody knows, but I'm gonna put down Luod, or just a thin Luod or masonite, probably Luod. And even though I don't use use the styrofoam down to the Luod, put the Luod down there, then pull that scenery goop right down over top of it, so there's no place where any of the material touches styrofoam. And then I'm gonna cover it with dirt anyway, but at least the sides.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I'll do the next time around, but probably put some plaster layer down. Don't make it so deep.
Plaster, scenery goop, something, because it just does not. Not to mention, styrofoam outgasses. So if you have water directly over top of it, it'll outgas and bubble.
Are we still, John?
Huh?
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we've been going
just
a little
letting
bit
y'all
past the
talk a
time
little
limit.
bit about your water before I shut
No.
down.
I was just wondering because no. I just got my ankle's hurting because I went horseback riding the other day. Yeah, I did. I went horseback riding. I did, Glenn. I did. I went horseback riding, and I got on the horse, and it was pretty good. But then the horse started to gallop. And when it started gallop, I lost all control, and I fell out onto the what do you call it? On the
ground.
No, my foot got caught in the stirrup. Thank God the manager came out and unplugged it because I don't know what was going to happen. I'll be here all week, folks. Don't forget to try to jump.
I thought you fell off onto the floor of the merry-go-round.
I was wondering how much horse ride there was in downtown New York, but
hey, we have those horses out in front of the stores. I can get on those. Don't you worry.
Yeah. All right. Well.
And we'll end on that note.
Yeah. Bill's horseback experience. Yeah, this definitely been an unusual show here. YouTube gave us all the buffering,
and
everything, but the live show would definitely be without buffering. Hopefully,
recorded show, yes, sir. Should be.
Let's see. I just looked to see if there's any last minute questions, but guess not. Alrighty, so I guess what we'll do is we'll just kind of bring this one to the end. I've kind of let it run its course like usual. But I want to say appreciate everybody coming in. Big Bill, Bob, Ralph, Phil, Newcastle, Glenn, always good to see you, bud, from down under. Curtis, Andy. Also had Andrew from Australia in at the beginning of the show. Then we had Dwight, Redneck AJ was here, Otto, Dave. Well, I had two Daves actually, Dave S and Dave K. So I know who they are. Let's see. Gino Custom Models was in here for a while. Good to see you in here, Gino. Yeah, he said that was Black Bear Scale Models. Jason was here too. Sparky 107. And let's see who else. Got Mark in here. Tony, John, Jim. All right. Hopefully I got most of you here. And so I want to say keep checking in on the YouTubeMallBuilders.com website for all the latest news and info on presentations, eMag, and the live show schedules. The live show is once every month, this third Saturday. The eMag is bi-monthly. Tuesday presentations twice a month now. And the Thursdays general hangouts are each week. You can go to the website, sign up for the eMag, get notified when it comes out. It's a PDF file. JD and his crew do a good job on that. Got a good crew for the Tuesday night presentations also in the live show. All our shows, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, are 9 o'clock Central Time. So you want to be sure to check your time zone so you'll be on time to see the show. But hey, if you got to work, something else came up and you missed the show, that's not a problem. Go to YouTube.com and do a search for the YouTube Mall Builders site. We have them all recorded right there. We do have a playlist. And so you go back, catch a show. Or if you want to go back, catch an earlier show for some information, you can do that also. But all our shows are 9 o'clock Central Time. And we do run a few special shows, but we'll announce the times of those because we do vary the time depending on the guests that we have and what time zone they're in. So we do vary our times there. But everything else is pretty much 9 o'clock Central Time. I want to say thank you for participating in tonight's Hangout. Really appreciate it. Sorry about the buffering, but that was not on our end. That was YouTube this time. So, appreciate it. We'll see y'all later. Have a good weekend.
Good night.